Stop scrolling. Not because this video is special, but because you've been using noise to avoid one honest moment with yourself. I am not here to motivate you. I am not here to comfort you. I am here to say what you already know, but keep pretending you don't. You are not lost. You are avoiding the truth. And the truth is uncomfortable because it demands responsibility, not hope. You keep saying you're confused, but confusion isn't your problem. Your problem is that clarity came, and you didn't act. So now your mind keeps you busy, so you don't have to admit that. You replay the same thoughts. You watch the same type of videos. You wait for the same sign. Not because you need guidance, because guidance would force a decision, and decisions end excuses. There is one thing in your life you already know you must change. One habit, one situation, one direction, one version of yourself you've outgrown. You don't need me to name it. Your body reacts every time you think about it. That tightness in your chest, that irritation when it comes up, that urge to distract yourself. That's not fear. That's resistance to accountability. You don't lack discipline. You lack honesty. Honesty about the fact that your current life no longer matches your capacity. You are not tired because you do too much. You are tired because you do too little of what actually matters. That's a different kind of exhaustion. You scroll not because you're lazy, but because stillness would force you to face the gap between who you are and who you know you could be. That gap is uncomfortable, so you fill it with content. Let me say this clearly. Waiting has become your identity. You wait for confidence, motivation, the right mood, the right timing. And while you wait, life keeps moving. Not against you, without you. You tell yourself you're being patient. You're not. You're being careful and calling it wisdom. Careful people don't fail loudly. They fail slowly. They fail quietly. They fail by never fully committing. You already know what you need to do. That's why you're here. Not for answers, for permission. But permission will never come, because this phase of your life is not about being guided, it's about being honest enough to move without guidance. Here's the part no one tells you. The next step won't feel inspiring. It will feel obvious. And that's why you keep doubting it. Because if it's obvious, you can't blame confusion anymore. You can only blame yourself for not acting. You are not afraid of failing. You failed before. You're afraid of succeeding in losing the version of yourself that still gets sympathy, patience, and excuses. Growth removes comfort stories. Growth makes you responsible for results. That's what you're resisting. And that resistance is costing you time. This part ends with one line you need to sit with. If you don't choose discomfort now, life will choose it for you later, without asking. Listen to me carefully now, because if this part makes you uncomfortable, it means it is finally honest. You keep telling yourself that you are stuck, but that is not the truth. You are not stuck. You are avoiding a shift that will change how people treat you, and that scares you more than failure ever did. You already know what needs to change. That's why you feel irritated lately. That's why familiar routines feel heavy. That's why distractions no longer satisfy you. Your mind is not tired. It is done negotiating. Here is the part most people never realize. Your delay is not caused by confusion. It is caused by identity conflict. You want growth, but you are still attached to how people see you now. Growth will change that.
Once you move forward, some people will feel smaller around you. Some will expect more from you. Some will lose access to you. And a part of you is still trying to protect everyone else's comfort. That protection is costing you momentum. You are not afraid of responsibility. You are afraid of being visible without an excuse. Right now, hesitation gives you an escape. As long as you don't fully commit, you can always say, "I could have done more." Commitment removes that safety net. That's why your mind keeps creating reasons to wait. You call it planning, but it is hesitation wearing intelligence. Let me say this clearly. Thinking is useful only when direction is unclear. Your direction is clear. Your resistance is emotional, not logical. This is also why motivation stopped working. Motivation is emotional fuel, and emotions cannot override identity conflict. You cannot motivate yourself into becoming someone you are still afraid to be. Another hard truth: your environment is not neutral. Even silence has influence. Even routine has direction. Even comfort has consequences. Every day you stay in a space that no longer challenges you, your urgency decays. Not suddenly, gradually. That is the most dangerous kind of decay. You don't feel worse, you just feel less driven, and then you blame yourself. But the issue was never discipline, it was exposure. You cannot keep living at the same mental altitude and expect a different future. Your nervous system adapts to what you repeat, and right now it is adapted to delay. This is why clarity keeps coming in flashes. You feel it late at night, in silence, in moments when distraction is gone. Then morning comes, and you talk yourself out of it. That cycle is not random. It is your old identity pulling you back into familiarity, because familiarity feels safe. But safety without growth becomes suffocating. You don't need a dramatic sign. You don't need a miracle. You need to stop reopening decisions you already understand. The next step in your life will not feel exciting. It will feel final. And that's why you keep avoiding it. Final decisions remove the option to stay the same, and a part of you still wants that option. This ends with something you need to accept. If you keep waiting for certainty, you will keep repeating this phase. Certainty is not a prerequisite. It is a reward for movement. Stay with me, because what is happening now is subtle. And subtle shifts are the ones people miss. You're not losing energy. You are losing tolerance. Tolerance for excuses. Tolerance for noise. Tolerance for things that once felt acceptable. This is not impatience. It is alignment sharpening. There was a time when effort alone was enough, when pushing harder created progress, when trying more solved the problem. That time is over. Now, effort without precision drains you. That is why you feel tired even when you were doing the right things. You were working, but you are not working clean. Clean work requires clean inputs, and right now, your inputs are polluted. Too many opinions, too many distractions, too many emotional leaks. None of them are dramatic. That's why they're dangerous. Small leaks sink strong ships. You are surrounded by familiarity, familiar routines, familiar conversations, familiar reactions to your growth. And familiarity slowly dulls urgency. When everything feels known, nothing feels necessary. That's why your mind keeps wandering, not because you lack discipline, because your environment no longer demands your best. Here's a truth that will sting, but free you. People don't need to oppose your growth to stop it. They only need to expect the old version of you. Expectation is a powerful anchor, and every time you perform the old version to keep things smooth, you trade momentum for comfort. That trade never ends well. This is why you feel internal resistance. One part of you wants expansion, another part wants to remain understandable. You cannot have both. Growth will make you harder to explain. That is the price. And here is where most people sabotage themselves. They mistake clarity for arrogance. They feel the urge to pull back, to soften their edge, to stay grounded. But what they are really doing is shrinking to avoid tension. Tension is not danger. Tension is transition. If everything feels smooth, you are not moving fast enough. Now listen carefully. You do not need more motivation. You do not need another message. You do not need another confirmation. You need subtraction. Less input, less availability, less reaction. Power does not come from addition at this stage. It comes from removal. Remove the habit of explaining yourself. Remove the reflex to justify your decisions. Remove the need to be emotionally understood. Clarity does not argue. It acts. And here is something most people never realize. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is where direction consolidates. That quiet you feel lately is not loneliness. It is space being created for a version of you that cannot exist in chaos. Your life is narrowing for a reason. Fewer interests feel real. Fewer conversations feel worth it. Fewer paths feel correct. This is not loss. This is focus. And focus always comes before momentum. Do not panic when things fall away. Do not chase what no longer responds. Do not reopen doors you already closed internally. If you return to what you outgrew, you will feel instant relief and long-term regret, because relief is not alignment. Alignment often feels firm, quiet, undramatic. That is where you are now. And this part ends with a line you must remember. If you keep trying to stay relatable, you will delay becoming effective, and effectiveness is what you were built for.
Stay here, because this is where people think they are safe and quietly lose momentum again. Progress has already started for you. You can feel it. Your thinking is sharper, your tolerance is lower, your patience for nonsense is gone. And this is exactly where danger appears, not as failure, as comfort. When things begin to move, the mind relaxes. It assumes the work is done. It isn't. Momentum does not disappear suddenly. It leaks. One skipped routine, one broken boundary, one familiar distraction you allow back in. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. It does. Power is not lost through big mistakes. It is lost through small permissions. You don't fall off track. You slowly drift back to what feels easy. This is why discipline must change now. Motivation worked when growth was exciting. Now growth is expected. Expectation requires structure, and the first structure you must protect is how your day begins and how your day ends. If your mornings start with noise, your authority weakens. If your nights end with distraction, your clarity dissolves. What you feed your mind at the edges of the day controls everything in between. This is not about time, it is about energy. 2 hours of distracted effort are weaker than 20 minutes of focused execution. Stop measuring productivity by hours. Start measuring it by presence. Now understand this clearly. Rest is not escape. Scrolling is not rest. Avoidance is not rest. Numbing is not rest. Rest restores clarity. If you return from rest feeling dull, you did not rest. You ran. Consistency will feel boring. No excitement, no rush, no validation. That boredom is the price of stability. People who chase excitement destroy rhythm. Rhythm is what carries power forward. Soon, life will feel normal again. The urgency will fade, the pressure will reduce, the intensity will calm. This is where most people assume they've arrived. They haven't.
Stability is not the reward. Stability is the platform. Do not lower your standards to feel relief. Lowering standards feels gentle. It feels human. It feels deserved. It also dissolves authority. As capacity grows, standards must rise. Comfort is not your goal. Alignment is. Here is a truth you must remember. If your life becomes more complicated as your power increases, you are building incorrectly. Power simplifies. Complexity is a warning sign. And this part ends with something you must not forget. Momentum is not taken from you. You give it away, one small permission at a time.
This is the end of the delay. Not because time ran out, but because tolerance did. You have reached the point where pretending costs more than telling the truth to yourself. Up to now, you survived by adapting, by adjusting, by staying flexible. That phase is over. Adaptation kept you alive, but it will not take you forward. From this moment, clarity demands consistency. You already know what drains you. You already know what distracts you. You already know what weakens your focus. You don't need another message to explain it. You need discipline to stop participating in it. Power does not arrive dramatically. It settles quietly. And when it does, it asks one question only. Will you protect it? Protection is not aggression. Protection is refusal. Refusal to over-explain. Refusal to overcommit. Refusal to return to habits you already outgrew. Most people lose their next level because they keep giving old versions of themselves access. You will not do that anymore. Here is the final rule. If something repeatedly pulls you away from clarity, it is not neutral. It is subtracting from you. And anything that subtracts from you must be reduced, without emotion, without drama, without apology. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be understood. You are not here to be available. You are here to be aligned. Alignment simplifies everything. Decisions become faster. Distractions become obvious. Excuses become uncomfortable. That discomfort is not fear. It is authority settling in. Very soon, life will offer you a familiar option. Same pattern, same temptation, same escape. This time, it will feel smaller. That is because you are larger now. Do not negotiate. Do not revisit. Do not reopen what you already closed internally. Clean decisions do not require closure conversations. They require follow-through. From this point forward, you move differently. You act when clarity appears. You pause when noise increases. You leave when standards drop. You stop waiting for motivation. You move because direction is clear. That is strength. That is discipline. That is power behaving correctly. This message ends here, not because there is nothing more to say, but because the rest must be lived. Stand firm, move clean, and do not return to what you already outgrew.